Hey, Aldwyn, Altuney here.
And I'm Michael Thompson.
And welcome to
another episode of
Movie Review TV. Movie Review TV. We see films as they are, rate them out of 5 stars. Movie Review TV. Movie Review TV. Yes, well done, Michael. Excellent song there, I must say. And we have our yes button here.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
And
Give me a Y.
give me an S. Yes, here we are. We're back again, episode 34 today. And we're going to be reviewing First Man.
Tell us about First Man, Aldwyn.
Okay.
What it's
all right,
about.
Michael.
First
All right.
Man for what?
Since you asked so nicely. Okay,
First Man to do what?
First Man. Okay, now it's on the heels of their 6-time Academy Award-winning smash, La La Land. Oscar-winning director Damien Chazelle and star Ryan Gosling reteam for Universal Pictures' First Man. And this is a riveting story of NASA's mission to land a man on the moon, focusing on Neil Armstrong and the years 1961 to 1969, which is before I was born. A visceral first-person account based on the book by James R. Hansen. The movie will explore the sacrifices and the cost on Armstrong and on the nation of one of the most dangerous missions in history. Written by Academy Award-winning Josh Singer from Spotlight. The drama is produced by Wyck Godfrey and Marty Bowen. The Twilight Saga, The Fault in Our Stars, through their Temple Hill Entertainment banner, alongside Chazelle and Gosling. Isaac Klausner, The Fault in Our Stars, executive produces this. DreamWorks Pictures co-financed the film, and it was released in Australia on October 11, 2018. The budget was $59 million US, and it made $100.5 million US at the box office. So it almost doubled its money. So what did you think of First Man, Michael?
Well, I'm glad it made a profit. Nearly doubled its budget. So I'm grateful for that.
Yes.
You know, people need
is
to know about one of the most significant events in human history, don't they?
Yeah.
First man to walk on the moon. And there was a lot leading up to it, obviously. You know, the first moon landing. There was a lot of, mishaps that happened on the way.
Yes.
As is highlighted in this film. But they had to go through that, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, just to, the mishaps, they got to correct their mistakes before they actually, do the big event, as in go to the moon. They had to have everything fixed up to make things as safe as possible. Then they, and obviously, nothing can be 100%, secure, on explorations, space explorations. There's always things that can go wrong.
Yeah,
isn't there? And that was pointed out, in the film. And obviously, things did go wrong in the 1960s when they first started the space program.
Yes.
And this film mainly it centers on Neil Armstrong more than it was obviously it's about the moon landings, but it focused on his life in the period in the 1960s between the movie started at 1961, so it's obviously it told you about the period of Neil Armstrong's life between 1961 and 1969. So it was like an 8-year period.
Yes,
it was. So because Neil, started out on, in NASA, and he initially went up for the Gemini 8 rocket program, didn't he? Because they orbited the Earth, they did, and they did have various problems though. When the Gemini 8 capsule went up, and it was a very primitive looking capsule. It was the Gemini 8, as is highlighted in this film, but they did manage to get into orbit, didn't they? They did face a problem, when they tried to, because they actually docked to another spacecraft that was already up there, if you remember, and that had some troubles getting down once they did that, because they got in the spin, which they couldn't control, as you can see in the movie.
Yes.
Because I can give away some details, because most people know about the moon landings, and it's factually based. It is so I can tell them about the details, mate. So because obviously it's based on a real life event, the moon landings. And yes, this film, only thing that I can say is that the audience should have been more emotionally involved in it, because it sort of reminded me more of a documentary more than a drama, because it gave you the basic facts of the Apollo 11 mission, or the events leading up to the Apollo 11 mission, and some of the details about Neil Armstrong's life. You got the feeling you didn't actually get to know Neil Armstrong. That's one of my complaints. It didn't tell you much about his life. He was a very sort of straight-faced and stoic character, yes, according to this. But it didn't, as I said, it's sort of, they couldn't make up their minds whether they wanted to do it as a documentary or as a drama. I think they sort of got stuck between those two genres. Because you felt, at the end, you didn't actually know Neil Armstrong, because it just gave you the basic details of the events and all the what they had to go through, to get to the stage where they could get to the moon, or they had various missions before that, and obviously various tests, that they had to do before they could go up there. And obviously, there's a lot of accidents on the way too, which sort of which sort of made them feel more scared. Well, it definitely would have before the Apollo 11 went up. So so I would say go see it as a slice of history, but don't expect to be any emotional pull when you watch the film, because it's very so they did it as it's sort of like watching a documentary on the History Channel. It is more than a drama. So that's, as I said, that's my only complaint about it. They should have put more effort into the characters. Yeah. And they should have made Neil Armstrong into a more human character. That could that people could relate to, and it didn't tell you hardly any details about the fellow astronauts. About Michael Collins and Buzz Aldrin. So they were just sort of in the background, and they didn't say anything at all, which is very strange. Yeah, I thought so. So what do you think, Aldwyn?
Yeah, I thought it was a really slow-moving film. Apart from the shaky bits where they're actually going up into space and up towards the moon. Apart from those sort of shaky bits where there was a bit of action, like, oh my goodness, are they going to make it? Apart from that, it was very, very slow. In fact, I even fell asleep at one point during this movie. It was that slow for me. And I guess because I also wasn't emotionally involved in any way, I found Neil Armstrong's character really dry. I found him, I couldn't really relate to him. I guess that, there wasn't that connection. I mean, his wife did show a bit of emotion, but the movie was centered around him and his family life and dealing with, he lost his daughter to cancer at a young age, and I guess he was dealing with that. But the way he dealt with it, I guess, is he kept things to himself. He, I don't think he was a very expressive kind of guy. I think he was very much in his head, and it made it very hard to relate to him or even empathise with him in any way. What I came away from this film with was thinking, wow, it is amazing, the technology that goes into sending someone to the moon. If in fact it really did happen, because there's a lot of people out there that say that it didn't.
Not going to say anything about that.
So that's very controversial, of course. But if in fact it did happen, it's amazing technology that enabled it to happen. And I did feel sad when we heard about the astronauts that died, when one spaceship blew up. You don't really hear about those kinds of stories either. So it was nice that they actually did mention that. But even so, when Neil Armstrong got that news, he didn't even really seem that impacted by it. He kind of had a moment of sadness, and then he just got on with things. So it didn't seem to really impact him that badly, but maybe it did. He just didn't show it in the film. I thought some of the scenes were really well done. I thought it looked very accurate. It looked very realistic as far as the visuals of the visuals of the moon and the visuals going into space and out of it was quite an out there kind of visual documentary drama.
Mhm.
But again, I didn't really go away feeling like it was a great movie. I think it was a good movie, not a great movie. So I give it 3 out of 5 stars. What do you give it?
Well, it's good for a sort of if you want a documentary, it's sort of like as I said, watching a an hour-long documentary on on Foxtel or
It's a bit like
Austar.
that.
It wasn't. It didn't. The characters didn't have any depth, except Neil Armstrong was the main focus of the film, and it didn't tell you anything about him. He was quite robotic. He was just there. It didn't have tell you about anything about his personality, did it?
No.
That's one of my complaints about it. So,
Yep.
And yes, so I give it 3.
3 stars. We both give it 3 stars. There we go. So it's a yes. That's over the 2.5 points. So it is above the very average.
For a slice of history, go see it.
Slice of history. It's kind of interesting, but no real depth of characters really going on there. No real empathy happening. However, you may enjoy it. You'll enjoy the effects, I guess, and the visions of the moon.
Yeah, and just to educate yourself. If you were born after the moon landings, 1969,
yes,
and they happened, you can go and sort of educate yourself by watching this film if you don't know any details. So it's sort of it's a good movie to watch. Just just as I said, a documentary to tell you about the details of what happened. Everything that led up to the Apollo 11 moon landings. And also the troubles that they had to face in actually getting there. Because, as I said, there was a lot of, explosions and mishaps and deaths.
Yes.
So, yes, I just wish Neil would have expressed more emotion.
And maybe that's how he was in real life. Maybe he was just a very dry character, and maybe that's what they expressed in the movie. But I guess it just didn't make great viewing when it comes to, watching
a story,
building
or drama,
a character. Probably, it didn't really draw on the heartstrings in that way.
No, it didn't at all. It didn't much at all. No.
Yeah, but well done to the makers. They still doubled their money almost at the box office. So well done. That's good. And we're off to review Aquaman next, so hang around and make sure you join us on Movie Review TV on Facebook, as well as subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to Aldwyn Altuney, and you can see all our other episodes on Movie Review TV on the playlist on YouTube. And what did you think of the film if you saw it? We'd love to hear from you. Put your comments under this video wherever you're watching it, and we'd love to hear from you. Any final words, Michael?
I'd say, let's go see, First Man, just to educate yourself or re-educate yourself if you've forgotten about the NASA space program in the 1960s.
Yeah.
So
John F. Kennedy said, "We will send a man to the moon in this decade." Remember that?
Not because it's easy, because it is hard, and it was hard.
Yes, exactly.
It tells you how hard it was.
Yes, it does. That's true. It does cover that. So this, in a way, is a bit of a tribute to John F. Kennedy as well, who we know was murdered, and the truth of that story never really came out. Interestingly, there's a lot that we don't hear about in the mass media that is going on behind the scenes. But anyway, do your own research on that. Okay, off to see Aquaman now, and off to do the review. So come and join us on Movie Review TV and YouTube.
And what's the Movie Review TV motto?
Moving you at the movies.
That means moving you to go to the movies. And you'll be moved at the movies when you see.
That's right.
The film.
Absolutely. Cheers to the makers of First Man.
But I wish that First Man could have moved us more. But maybe it'll affect you a bit more.
Yeah, maybe you'll like it more.
But you'll
it was okay.
Cheers. But you'll as I said, you'll educate yourself.
You'll learn something
about the early space program.
Yeah, I do. Generally, I like movies based on a true story, and it is interesting from that respect. Yes.
Yeah, for a history lesson.
Go and see it. All right, Aquaman coming up next. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.
See ya.